Are you interested in sustainable living and escaping the rat race, but feel conflicted and uncomfortable about the idea of pursuing that through putting many hours into a soul-sucking job just to save up lots of money, or investing in and propping up Wall Street, or accumulating a large portfolio of rental properties that exacerbate affordable housing issues? Well, even though that's the most commonly known blueprint for financial independence, or FIRE, financial independence, retire early, there are less conventional paths that most people just aren't aware of. And luckily for us, they spark more joy, connection, creativity, and resilience in our lives in this era of late-stage capitalism and climate change. Intrigued? Then stay tuned. Hi, I'm Laurel Oldany, a green living and money coach, helping reluctant capitalists design financially resilient lives for themselves without destroying the very future we're all preparing for. And if you're excited to find this kind of content here on YouTube, please subscribe and help me bring this message to even more people. In today's video, I want to introduce you to the concept of FREE instead of FIRE. FREE stands for financially resilient and economically, ecologically, and ethically empowered. And I co-wrote a whole book about it, which I've linked to in the description below. Some of the key principles of FIRE still apply because the basics of personal finance are still valuable, like saving, budgeting, and getting out of debt. But FREE takes us into a much more expansive and holistic realm of wealth and investing. When we look more closely, we recognize that the FIRE path is based on an unsustainable course of destruction, whereas the FREE dream minimizes that destructiveness and improves our lives and communities. So now that I've piqued your curiosity, let's explore the 7 key elements of growing free. First is redefining wealth. We're sold a very toxic version of wealth and success that's leaving many of us isolated, dissatisfied, and unhealthy. How many of us really need large walk-in closets full of clothes, perfectly decorated homes, and large mega yachts to feel content? So an important part of the process becomes getting clear on what a truly wealthy life looks like to you. What does your ideal day look like? What activities would you like to regularly engage in? And with whom would you like to regularly interact? Where would you like to live? In the city? In a rural setting? On a boat? In a treehouse? Alone? In an intentional community? With family or friends? What are the things you want to prioritize in your life? Creating a quality of life statement can be a helpful exercise. And number 2 is taking an honest look at your money numbers. Yep, like I said, the basics of personal finance still apply in our pursuit of a free life. You need to know how much you owe and how much money is coming into your life, staying, and going out, and where it's going to. I know money can feel icky or boring or scary, but truly one of the most powerful things you can do to push back against our destructive corporate economy and improve your own quality of life is to get a handle on these numbers. That means you're coming up with a plan to pay off your debt and not spending mindlessly. You're avoiding the late fees, the overdraft fees, and the other fees that make those predatory financial institutions even richer. You also want to monitor whether what you're spending your money on is moving you towards or away from your vision of a wealthy life. Number 3, kicking the consumerism addiction. I recently rescued a bunch of organic food, eco-friendly cleaning products, and so much more from the side of the road after one of the tenants in a rental property near me fell ill and passed away, and the other ended up in jail. It's a long, tragic story I won't go into here, but one of them was a hoarder, so there were multiples of many items, and lots of them still in their shipping boxes. I couldn't help but wondering if these people felt like they were living paycheck to paycheck when they could have been making different choices with their money. I know that this is a dramatic example because the couple living there had obviously experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, but it demonstrates the role psychology plays in our relationship with money and how we consume. Before you buy something, think about why you're buying it and whether you really need it. I'm here to tell you that you are a worthy and beautiful human being, and your value and true happiness won't come from purchasing a new tech gadget, the latest fashion, or the currently trending water bottle. And not buying the crap that these greedy corporations are foisting on us is one of the greatest ways to resist capitalism while making space in your own life for more meaningful things. And that brings me to number 4, embracing scrappy and sustainable living. If we're not going to be buying so much stuff, we'll be more inclined to tap our resourcefulness and creativity. That might simply mean borrowing something instead of buying it. Learning how to repair something instead of throwing it away. Starting to walk, ride your bike, or take public transit more than you drive your car. Opening your mind to new ways to perceive and use what you already have, or sourcing still usable items from the curbside. I've never been creative in the typical sense of drawing pictures, writing poetry, or playing music. But I have been able to tap and marvel at my creativity by pursuing alternative ways to meet my needs. Instead of being a form of deprivation, it's become a source of pride, accomplishment, satisfaction, and climate activism, and fun for me. This also makes me a lot more resilient in the face of extreme weather events and the whims of capitalism. And I suspect it can be the same for you. Number 5, designing your life around right livelihood. Unlike those on the financial independence retire early path, those of us pursuing a free life aren't looking to stop working completely. On the contrary, we still want to work, but we want our work to support the life-affirming economy and not the life-destroying economy. And most of us don't want to be working long hours at a soul-crushing job in a toxic corporate environment. That means we're going to be generating income through right livelihood, a Buddhist concept that means honest and ethical work that doesn't harm others. And since we've gotten clear on what a wealthy life looks like to us, and we're applying those scrappy and sustainable living skills to keep our costs down, we can then design our financially viable lives around the pursuit of right livelihood. One of my favorite examples of this is Corinne Helbig, a journalist and ethical digital marketing coach sharing her urban permaculture journey online. She's been able to design a satisfying life for herself around part-time work that pays her bills and affords her the time and lifestyle she needs to manage her chronic illness. Number 6, cultivating a holistic wealth portfolio. Conventional wealth building focuses solely on financial capital, and that's leaving many of us feeling overwhelmed, isolated, fragile, and unprepared to navigate future challenges. It doesn't have to be that way, though. I'm not saying that money and financial capital don't play an important role in our lives, but it's only one form of wealth you can access. What if the power grid fails for a few days during an extreme weather event, and you can't access your bank account or your investing accounts? What good will your money do you then? It's the other forms of wealth, like community and connection, gardening, your skills, peace of mind, as well as other non-monetary forms of capital that make your life meaningful and resilient. I refer to these as the multiple forms of capital, and they're so important to that holistic wealth portfolio that I made a separate video on them that you can find here or here. And number 7, making regenerative instead of extractive investments. Conventional wealth building is also extractive, constantly extracting energy and resources from people and planet. Instead, we need to build wealth in ways that restore, rejuvenate, replenish, repair, and regenerate all of the depleted people and our very depleted planet. For me personally, an essential part of regenerative investing is not investing in the stock market. That's because all of the companies you can invest in through Wall Street are beholden to maximize shareholder value and financial returns. That means companies prioritize profit above people and planet. As a result, they are leading the destruction of the future you and I are working so hard to prepare for, so I definitely don't want to be investing in them. Even the more supposedly socially conscious SRI and ESG options are simply doing less harm and not doing any good. Instead of investing in the problems, I'm finding alternative investments that put my money in the solutions. The solidarity economy, the regenerative economy, and my local economy. I've found platforms like Steward through which I can earn interest making loans to regenerative farmers. I'm also an investor with Community Vision Capital, which uses investors' money to support local nonprofits and social enterprises. Most people have no idea that these opportunities even exist for non-wealthy people like you and me to invest in and not just donate to these solutions. And they're really surprised when I tell them about it. If that's you and this is something you'd like me to make a separate video about, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do that. I'm not suggesting you move all your money off Wall Street like I did, but maybe you could make just one of these more truly socially conscious investments and see how it goes. So that, in a nutshell, is the path to becoming financially resilient and economically, ecologically, and ethically empowered, or free. You're striving for a financially viable life that benefits you, your community, and the planet more than those greedy corporations and billionaires. Today, there's a lot of work to be done addressing our major social and environmental problems. So that means there are many opportunities to tap your ingenuity to design a truly amazing life and livelihood for yourself around this work. If you want a more in-depth blueprint for creating your free life, check out my book, Growing Free: Building the Life of Your Dreams Without Losing Your Soul or Destroying the Planet. As I mentioned, I've included the link below in the description. And if you'd enjoy more ideas and motivation for leading a rich life while defying capitalism, check out this video that's going to pop up and sit in on a session of Capitalism Survival School. There's no homework, but lots of good food for thought.